The Ides of March can mean only one thing. Let's talk about the pugio. Okay, before I go into detail on this, I just want to make sure you realise this is a replica. This is not an edged weapon by any standards, okay? Just make sure I don't get in trouble. I'll start with the name. The pugio is said to have come from the Latin verb pungo, which meant to prick or punch, and you can understand why. After all, this is a dagger. The consensus seems to be that the pugio was something added to the Roman armoury, and somewhat later on you might think, actually by the end of the 2nd century BCE, when Rome was fighting the Numantine Wars, and this was fought in northern Spain, and the Celtiberian tribes there had a lot of different weapons, and one of them was a very useful and handy dagger for close-up combat. And that's where Rome saw it, thought this is a really good idea, let's have a go at doing it ourselves. A bit like, fun enough, how they took the gladius from the Iberian mercenaries that came over and fought against them for Hannibal. You might have thought then that Rome gave all of its soldiers the pugio, but that's really not the case, or doesn't seem to be. This map shows the major finds of the pugio. And in fairness, it doesn't seem to be something that was located in a lot of places. You've got northern Spain, that's probably the Numantine Wars, and later. But you also got the Rhine, or sort of that area where Rome was coming up against the various tribes there. But it doesn't seem to be something that was ubiquitous by any standards. Its use then was close quarter combat and to complement the longer gladius. And there's an instance that Tacitus records where the Romans are being besieged at a fort by some Germans, and they're climbing up the walls and whatnot, and they're fighting in close quarters, and the dagger becomes very useful there. But it was also used, perhaps most famously, against Julius Caesar. Yes, this was the weapon that killed Julius Caesar, and it even featured on a coin which commemorated the act. You can see it there. If you think about it then, the pugio is a really fascinating weapon because it symbolises so much. It was something foreign that they'd imported, adapted, and let's say improved, but certainly used a lot. And then it ends up becoming something that is very, very Roman, because the act of overthrowing a tyrant is that big Roman thing. And as such, as I said, they featured it on a coin. So it goes to something as a foreign object, right the way through to almost kind of Roman canon in terms of culture.